Juma Mubarak from the team iAfrica TV mbokk yi ñu leen di nuyu di leen dalalaat fii si beneen édition yi Good Morning Africa programme dañ leen dee ñëwal from Monday to Friday tey nag moo nekk suñ last edition bi moo nekk Friday te dañ leen fa diktal pour andil leen xibaar yu wér te wóor si suñ ay jotaay si Good Morning Africa programme bi comme buñ ko dee baaxoo di defee saa su ne rek si suñ Good Morning Africa programme bi dañ leen dee andil studio stories ñu andil leen newspaper review ñu andil leen tamit ay guest yoo xam ne dañ am solo te dañ dee waxtaane loo xam ne tamit dafa am solo torop te dañ leen ko dee faram-fàcceel ba mu set wicc comme lu ma leen ko dee waxee rek saa su ne rek si suñ ay jotaay rek ñuñ ay Africa mboole moo xam ne loo xam ne daal start nañ ko dañ dee make sure ne ñu andil leen duñ dee focus only on the news but dañ dee make sure ne ngeen understand loo xam ne dañ ko dee andi ñu make sure ne tamit dañ leen ñu andi leen loo xam ne tamit lu wér la te lu wóor la jërë ngeen jëfati si kolute bi si ànd bi ak si safo bi ma leen naa wish Juma Mubarak te ma di laajte ndax yéen a ngi fine because ñu alhamdulillah ñu ngi fine sant yàlla ba mbëri good morning viewers, welcoming you to another edition of the Good Morning Africa program. It's Friday 2nd July 2021. It's always good to be back on the platform for another exciting edition of the Good Morning Africa program. Like we always do, we bring our studio stories, which will be followed by the newspaper review, and of course we always bring you endeavor to bring you interesting guests in the studio here to discuss about pertinent issues that are happening in the country and of course around the world. And today also, like we always do, we have the lawmakers who summoned the Interior Minister. IEC, of course, they issued the 5th provisional voter registration numbers for the 5th week. We will bring you that. And of course, CDS, as we all know, he is currently embarking on a nationwide military tour to various military security deployments. We will bring you that and what the CDS is calling for, because since he embarked on this, it's about the challenges of the security forces that they're encountering, and of course he also promised them to give them water, and of course he also advised them to foster the unity among themselves. And not only that, he also advised them not to partake in politics. They have the right to vote because they're Gambians, but what is more important is for them not to partake in politics, which is a very important call there. So today, our first story will focus our attention to the lawmakers. As you know, they are currently on their sittings, and this is the second time they are summoning ministers, and the first one was the Fisheries Minister, and now is the Interior Minister by the lawmakers in Banjul. So we will go ahead with the story and talk about matters of that, because Gambian lawmakers summoned the Minister of Interior, Yankuba Sonko, to appear before the National Assembly to answer questions about security-related matters. Key among them is the suspected case of 2 men who were killed in the community of Nyamina Kudang and brutalized by unknown persons. Binta Jallo tells us more of that in this report.
The Gambian Interior Minister appeared before the lawmakers last week to answer questions regarding cases of suspected murders. One of the questions was raised by the Nyamina East representative, Omar Sise. He asked the Interior Minister about the case of 2 men who were killed in the community of Nyamina Kudang and brutalized by unknown person. It could be recalled that Kudang police station received suspected murder cases and assault causing grievous bodily harm between August 2020 and February 2021. One of the suspected murder cases occurred on the 15th of August 2020. And the deceased was identified as one Guinean national called Nyancho, a suspected lunatic found lying in an unfinished building with bruises on the head, and was taken to the Kudang Health Center where he was pronounced dead. The Interior Minister said no arrest was made and investigations are still ongoing. He further stated that in the second suspected murder case, which involved one Bambo Dabo's death, investigations are still ongoing. However, 4 individuals were arrested for being with the deceased on the night the alleged murder occurred. The third case involved one Keba Faye, a suspected lunatic also from Senegal. He was found laying with serious injuries on his jaw and was then rushed to the RVTH for treatment and later discharged. While answering questions from lawmakers at the National Assembly, the Interior Minister said they are doing everything possible to stop crimes in the country, adding that they have also introduced community policing to sensitize the citizenry.
Thank you very much. We have already developed the Gambia Police Force UNDP community policing strategy, and then it's in the high gears at now. Because the motivative aspect of it and encouragement aspect of it is going to be sponsored most likely by the UNDP, so that at least to facilitate their movement and also to organize forums where certain expenditures will be incurred and then can be paid for. Because if you need to go to communities, you have to sit with them. And the time that you sit with them, you have to at least cater something for them. At least during that, if it is refreshment or food for the time that they are going to be with you. So this is that's the strategy that we raised, and it's going to be supported by the UNDP. Thank you.
According to the minister, there was high increase in criminal activities in the country. Hence, they had to launch Operation Zero Crime to target criminal hideouts within the Greater Banjul areas and Kanifi Municipal Council. With the acquisition of more government funding, it was later expanded to other regions, and the positive outcome of the operation is the gradual decline of crime rate in the country. For iAfrica News, Binta Jallo.
Wow, kooku moo nekk Binta Jallow report boobu noonu am na solo trop because National Assembly members fu mu nekk nii gaa ñu ngee somoon rek inti ministers yi pour gaa ñu dem ansa si mboolem moo xam ne daal mu ngi concern gaa yi seen areas te xam naa ne loolu am na solo trop because loolu mooy tax nit ñi mun a xam lan moo nekk di xew because case ñaari yu happen noon loolu depuis 2020 la 2021 keneen ki Guinean national la koo xam ne daal dañ ko rey waaye dégg nañ interior minister bi lu mu wax mu ne ba léegi moom téyeanguñ kenn in relation to the death of that man te loo xam ne daal okkoon na depuis 2020 ba léegi 2021 mu ngi ni loolu daal foog naa ne dañ war a speed up seen investigation si loolu am na solo torop because cases of this nature dañ ko war a treat with urgency am na solo torop lu mel ni rey nit dafa nekk loo xam ne dafa important torop nit sax dafa important so suñ ko reyee dañ ko war a treat with urgency case boo xam ne depuis 2020 August 15 in 2020 ba léegi 2021 ñu ngi léegi xalaat 2022 loolu dafa yàgga torop so interior minister bi gaay ak ministry am bi gaay dañ war a act together with the police of course gaay dañ war a speed up send investigations ñu make sure and you give ñi results in the Gambia often times nag comme lu bari sometimes incidents that they happen te su happune rek ñi dañ dee nekk di police bi dafa génn mu ne we are conducting investigations wala the relevant authorities dinañ génn di wax ne ñu ngi conduct investigations but the outcome of that investigations often time is not shared with the public and I think that they deserve to know what the outcome of the investigations are lolu amna solo torop waaye ñu ngi si investigation I can assure you in more than 50 cases yoo xam ne mu ngi happen top cases yoo xam ne ñu ngi happen in this country all in the name of ñu ngi investigate nobody gets to know the outcome of those investigations. I think that is very crucial but thank God alhamdulillah now that the access to information bill is here and it's enacted I think all those things will become a thing of the past. Journalists would get to the root of the matter of things that is happening and of course, if they are making follow-ups with the relevant authorities on relevant issues happening in this country, it will trigger them to, foster their investigations or to speed up their investigations rather on the things that are happening. So that is a very laudable initiative. And We have a guest this morning to talk about issues that is very, very important. We are expecting actually two guests this morning to talk about different issues which are relevant to the people. Te loolu noonu am na solo torop dégtal nañ leen na waati dinañ am guest si Good Morning Africa programme bi comme lu ma leen ko waxee woon si njëlbeen bi ñuñ fii every time dañoo make sure ñu andi guest lu munti xew rek si dëkk bi dañoo make sure ne ñu andi leen relevant authorities yoo xam ne dañoo waxtaanee si mbir yooyu noonu ñu faram-fàcceel leen ko ba mu set wicc ñi ñu mun a xam lan moo nekk di xew ak ban njëriñ la am tey tamit dañ leen fasa yéenel andi leen guest boo xam ne am na solo torop dinaa leen ko wax nag kan la ak si lan la nekk ban faana la nekk di yëngu si kanam tuuti but with that ñu move on rek ñu wax si leneen ñu wax si leneen rek because the Africa Centers for Disease Control and Prevention has shown dissatisfaction and disappointment with the European Union regarding access to COVID-19 vaccines. During its weekly press briefing on Thursday, the African CDC alleged on the EU to stay away from the policies that will complicate the fight against the coronavirus global pandemic. Desise tells us more.
Given the worrisome trajectory of COVID-19 vaccine distribution across the world, the Africa Center for Disease Control and Prevention is disappointed with the European Union for marginalization of the African continent. So far, about less than 1% of the African population has been vaccinated, thanks to unequitable distribution of vaccines globally. In what appears to be adding some salt into the injury, the European Union chose not to recognize vaccines administered in Africa, including the AstraZeneca, for travel pass within the EU. This move, according to the Africa CDC, might make vaccine provision for Africa even more harder, because the continent depends on these supplies under the WHO COVID-19 provision. In this light, the director of Africa CDC, John Kensong, called on the European to do away with principles that will make it further difficult to fight COVID-19.
A vaccine that has been supported by the Europeans and supported by COVAX, supported by WHO, will not be allowed to be on the list of vaccines that were recognized through the Green Pass process in Europe. We've always said when this pandemic started, that we should always use science, data, to drive decisions. And I don't think this is one that was based on science and data, because if you look at the neutralizing antibody levels, which all these vaccines are generating against the spike protein, that the vaccine, that is the AZ vaccine produced in India, produces very high neutralizing antibodies. I think that is what, if they were producing less quality neutralizing antibodies, you probably argue that based on that, they are not fit to be recognized. So we are really calling on the European to stay away from such policies that will further undermine and make it difficult for us to fight this pandemic.
The zooming tough policies from the EU regarding global fight against COVID-19 appear to be a reminder of lessons learned that Africa cannot depend on countries for vaccine. John faced the pressure to assure that Africa can eliminate the pandemic by the end of next year, pending the availability of enough vaccines.
The fact of the matter is the EU has vaccine factories. It has vaccine production centers across Europe. Not a single dose, not one vial has left a European factory for Africa. Okay, when we've gone to talk to their manufacturers, they tell us that they are completely maxed out, meeting the needs of Europe. We are referred to India, okay, where a number of manufacturers exist that are manufacturing vaccines like the AstraZeneca vaccine under license. Okay, so Europe has to decide. You can't say you support us. They have vaccinated so many of their own people that they can now watch football without masks. Okay, our people have not been vaccinated. Less than 1% of our population has been vaccinated.
Strife Masiwa, the coordinator of African Vaccine Acquisition Team, expressed Africa's disappointment with the European Union for the fact that not a single dose has left European factories for Africa.
First of all, let's remain optimistic that the efforts that people like Strive, Professor Benedict Orama, Dr. Vera Songwed, and others are doing, working every night and from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. To acquire these vaccines would yield fruits. That way, in the next 12 months or so, we vaccinate at speed and at scale. If we do that, and the population cooperate, and I did share some information with you today on how much countries are using their vaccines, which is a very good indicator of that. If we have a predictable supply of vaccines, the vaccines will be used, then we can defeat this pandemic. We can break the backbone of this pandemic by the end of next year.
As of July 2021, 5.5 million COVID-19 cases have been reported across the continent. This figure accounts for 3% of the total cases reported globally. Over 142,000 Africans have died from the virus, while 4.8 million people have recovered since the start of the pandemic. Reporting for iAfrica News, I am Daisy.
mu ngi noonu doy na waar torop ba léegi sa léegi daal xamatuñ lu ñoo waxati si béréb boobu noonu because Africa Center for Disease Control and Prevention ñoom daal ñu ngi oote pour European Union gaay ñu bàyyi nit ñi wala ñu stay away from pour buñ undermine the fight against COVID-19 in Africa te lii fi mu nekk nii moo taxit ma ne Africa war nañoo eewu léegi ñu ngi slumber for far too long now léegi war nañoo génn suñ slombay European Union countries yi gaa ñu ngi vaccinate seen nit ñi te fu mu nekk ni gaay mun nañoo dem football mun nañoo dem seetaan match mun nañoo dem doxi seen soxla fekk sax soluñ max waaye Africa fii fu mu nekk ni léegi that's not the case. Imagine less than 1% of the Africa's population yoo xam ne daal ñoo vaccinate loolu noonu dafa doy waar torop dafa nekk loo xam ne dafa doy waar torop te lii war naa serve as a wake up call for Africa and her people. buñ depend too much on the Europeans that dafa nekk loo xam ne daal dañ feel ne okay ñun fuñ nekk nii daal we cannot move without them, and as a result so many African countries ñu ngi make the effort to pour gaay mun a am vaccines their own made locally vaccines waaye fu mu nekk nii sax loolu problème la pour WHO sax mu approve those vaccines. So lii dafa war a show ne there is a foul play somewhere. So Africans rek ñun ñoo mun a génn suñ coono bi ñun rek ñoo mun a yóbbu suñ continent bi forward. Let us not be dependent on these people for everything. COVID-19 is here and it is real, and fu mu nekk nii daal over 5.5 million people ñoo xam ne daal am nañ coronavirus pandemic bi as of July 2021 loolu noonu is a huge number. 5.5 million Africans am nañ fu mu nekk nii the COVID-19 vaccine te more than 100,000 of them are already dead because of the COVID-19 pandemic te lii mu nekk loo xam ne daal dafa doy waar torop. It's enough. Africa, let's stand for ourselves, let's believe in ourselves. It's high time. I mean, this is the 21st century, man. We cannot be dependent on other people for everything. COVID-19 vaccine sa ñu ngi try but gis nañ ne sax fu mu nekk nii sax dañ ko politicize pour ñu approve vaccines yoo xam ne sax for African made la sa problème la. So loolu noonu vaccine boo xam ne la dafa jógoon Madagascar to the Gambia vaccine bu yooyu noonu rek fu mu nekk ni time boobu noonu léegi rëy nañ vaccines yooyu noonu yëpp doo dee déggati vaccine yooyu noonu boole moo xam ne daal African si ñoo ko defar rek dañ dee try by all means pour ñu sabotage ko to an extent like ñi duñ ko mun a usati or African si sax dañoo doubt what they made themselves. So lii it's high time pour ñun tamit ñu start ñu defar ñu believe in ourselves, ñu use what we have, our resources that we have, the limited resources we have. Let us make best use of those resources and make our own vaccines and vaccinate our own people. It's high time. If not, we will see African people dying every day because of the vaccine and we cannot do anything about it. So it's high time you def dara say no because it's a signal for African countries and African leaders to one these people you're depending on them for everything. It's high time your taminga start believing in your people, believing in yourself, and with the limited resources you have, put make the best use of those resources, and then come up with a vaccine for Africa. ñun dañoo mën a wax ne all the entire Africa ñun amuñ experts yoo xam ne mën nañoo come up with a single vaccine for the continent. No, that is hard to believe. So you believe in ourselves, so we can do it. We have been doing it, and this is we are in a stage where we have to prove ourselves. It's either we make ourselves or break ourselves. So if we make ourselves, that is by coming up with a vaccine that will vaccinate our own people. Breaking ourselves is relying on other people for everything, that for our survival, for our health and everything. So dañ wara bay si lolu nonu health torop with lolu nonu rek ñu woy was ci lenen, because comme luma len ko dicta rek sen njëlbeen bi am nañ fi ñaari guest yoo xam ne dañoo waxtaane lu am solo. So ñu rush rek ñu was ci lolu nonu tey duñ mën a leen andil analysis in deep, but dañoo brush ci surface bi rek ñu move on. So ñu was ci IEC ak seen voter registration bi, because over 700,000 Gambians have been registered to acquire voting tickets ahead of the crucial December 4th presidential elections. The Independent Electoral Commission has announced this massive number was registered after 5 weeks of voter registration exercise. According to IEC, the process is going smoothly and they may reach the targeted number before the stipulated deadline. Aissatou Chow tells us more in this report.
The voter registration process started on the 29th of May 2021 and it is expected to last until 11th of July. With a population of over 2.3 million people, only 70% of eligible Gambians have registered their votes for the 2021 presidential election. This translates to about 700,000 voters. The Independent Electoral Commission intends to issue about 1 million voter cards before the deadline. Parmakan Khan, the communication officer of IEC, said the registration process is progressing smoothly and he is positive that before the final week, the IEC will reach its targeted number.
Yes, I think it's going fine. It's progressing smoothly, and right now we are in the week 5 of the process, the 5th week of the voter registration, and it's just in the last quarter of the voter registration exercise. I would say it's going smoothly despite some few challenges we're facing currently. This was the 4th week figures. The figures related to the 4th week. That's the over 700,000. So we expect to receive the 5th week by Friday. This Friday would mark the end of the week 5. So I would say we have 2 more figures left. We have the figures for the 2 remaining weeks. So based on that fact, I would say it's likely that we would meet the target of registering 1 million voters.
According to reports, some political parties and stakeholders have pleaded with the Electoral Commission to extend the voter registration beyond the allocated date. But Mr. Khan believes that it's not necessary to extend the voter registration deadline. According to him, registration centers are less busy and are quite sure that before the allocated date, all eligible Gambians will have their voter cards.
I don't think it will be necessary to extend the date, because currently, judging by the environment, most centers you visit are not quite busy, especially in the rural areas. Like, for example, where I am here in the North Bank region, most centers you go, you will find less than 20 people. So, in a sense, I would say that most people have been registered. But nonetheless, I know in the Comos, some areas are still experiencing high turnouts. And I would say, based on that fact, if need be, some of the teams which are less busy may be shifted to those high demanding areas. So based on that fact, again, I would say it may not be necessary to extend the voter registration exercise beyond the 11th of July, because I'm sure by which time all eligible Gambians would already have been registered.
Registration of voters begin every electoral cycle, where eligible citizens are provided with a voting ticket to vote for a candidate of their choice. The December 4th election is crucial as it will be the first time that Gambians will elect a president without Jammeh as a candidate in about a quarter of a century. For iAfrica News, Aissatou Chow.
Wow, Lolo, am na solo torop voter registration before nekani. This is the 5th week of the voter registration process, and IEC lu nekka di wax mo nekani. The process is going smoothly, and dañ expect ne before the stipulated time guide nañ the required number for the voter registration. Te am na solo pour Gambians yi ñu génn yoo xam ne daal you above, you have 18 years mun ngaa dem nga register, and you a Gambian mun ngaa dem nga register. Dafa am solo torop waaye nag comme if it is necessary, comme political parties yi lu nekk di oote, su dee ne time bi jot ne te amuñ the required number, mun nañoo extend the deadline pour nit ñi mun a dem register, because it's a fundamental right for every Gambian to register te mun nga mun a vote and be voted for. So as a result, lii dafa nekk loo xam ne daal is very important, is a determinant factor. It will determine a lot come December 4th presidential election. Xam naa ne daal ku nekk daal war naa am a say in the the affairs of the country. As a result, this is the way of expressing your choice, or telling people that this is what I want for my country, this is how I want my country to be governed, and who I want to govern my country. So it's very important. I'm not solo pour ñi génn dem vote. Te ñu ngi def a lot of issues, initiative yoo xam ne civil society organization, the media, and of course the comedian group ñoo xam ne daal ñu ngi come up with a lot of issues, and musicians of course pour ñu rock your voter concert pour make sure ne ñi mun a dem acquire a voters card pour mun a dem si concert boobu noonu. So all these are means of making people to go and register, which is a very laudable initiative. Am na solo torop waaye sometimes tamit nag soo demee si voter registration centers yi, oh my God, you want to be like, you're frustrated. Nga génn depuis suba sa kër nga dem toog foofu noonu, ay si officials si nekk di kurtu si benn affaire rek duñ mun a pare. Yesterday I was at Sinchusori voter registration post, and depuis suba maa ngi foofu noonu ba after 12 munuma am my voters card, waaye nag thankfully dama register rek, so ma ne la ne tey I will go for the get my voters card. Waaye dafa frustrating. Imagine gars yi at 10 o'clock gars ñu ne dañoo dem deewoo foofu noonu, ñu nekk foofu noonu close to 1 hour, gars ñu ngi toog, ñu ngi toog bàyyi seen liggéey, bàyyi ñeneen ñu ngi dem bugg a dem marché, ñeneen bugg a dem school, ñu bàyyi loolu yëpp ñu ñëw foofu noonu toog. So it's frustrating. Ñoom tamit nañu jàppale, nañu respect liggéey bi, ñu génn ñëw as early as 7 or 8 a.m. gars yi mun a am seen deewoo, ñu ñëw attend si nit ñi liggéey bi mun a fast, because these things tamit daf dee mun a frustrate nit ñi. Dama ñëw bi ñeneen ñi duñ dee wax ne sax there are certain people su ñu wax ne man sax suma because for 2 days gaa ñu ngi dem foofu noonu mënu ñoo am voters card. So lii dafa nekk loo xam ne dafa discourage ñi ñi. So ñun tamit IEC ñu ngi def they doing great, kenn waxul they are not doing great, but nañ speed up affaire yi pour ñi ñi mën a am voters card, because dafa am solo. Te tamit if necessary, if need be, nañ extend the deadline for everybody, for every Gambian to have a voters card. Am na solo. ñu move on rek quickly, ñu wax si army ñu daal suñ because ganyum fi already, because ñu wax si army bi tour on his second phase of the nationwide military tour to the Chief of Defense Staff of the Gambia Armed Forces, Lieutenant General Yankuba A. Drame, paid a courtesy call on the governor of West Coast and of the Birkama. Part of his engagements in the tour, the discussions was centered on the work of the military and how peace pre and post-elections. Details in this report.
The Gambia is going into tough times as elections of presidential, legislative and local government approaches. Many feared for violence as the peace of the country could be fragile in the upcoming elections if any indifferences is displayed among Gambians. In his nationwide tour, CDS Drame has been constantly calling on Gambians to maintain peace as tribal and political sentiments can cause instability in the country. Having been into peacekeeping missions in countries of conflict, the Army General explains how the country could suffer in the hands of civil war if tribal sentiments is given a chance.
Imagine the Gambian situation. What do we have? Gambia is poor. let's say outrightly poor. Gambia, we are dependent on one AIDS. Assuming there is a crisis in this country, let's say, for instance, 2 days into the crisis, how many of you would survive? Let's assume there's a war, civil war, because of senseless tribal sentiments or reckless decision in the context of tribal sentiments. If there is a crisis in any given country, one, all the shops would close. The markets would close. Everything basically would come to a standstill, including transportation. In the Gambia context, how do we survive?
The chairman of the Brikama Area Council, Sirifo Sonko, called on the military to safeguard the peace in the country, saying the military should not allow politicians to use them for their political gains.
The Gambia men and women in uniform, we are now in politics. We as politicians may want to use you, our sisters, our brothers, to cover us in our politics. You are not there for that. You are there for the Gambia, our country, our beloved nation. And I challenge you to maintain what you have been doing before. We are so much proud of you, and we believe you are going to be loyal to your country. You are going to be loyal to the leadership of this country. Without loyalty, I don't think we will be able to live harmoniously in our dear motherland. The Gambia is known as a smiling coast of Africa.
Lamin Sane, the governor of West Coast Region, says the only way to secure the country is through dialogue and collaboration. Governor Sane adds that there should be no atmosphere for violence instigation in the country.
I've also been following remarks about some sort of sentiments we're observing in the security sector, that is especially on the social media platforms. There should be no room of trying to instigate anything of violence in this country. You are soldiers with a difference. You are soldiers of professional training with high academic qualification. And most of you have left this country to go outside for peacekeeping missions. And those peacekeeping missions, you've learned experiences. You've seen so many things, and you can tell people about those histories.
With the December polls fast approaching, the political atmosphere is already booming, with different political parties emerging to contest the presidential seat for a 5-year mandate. With regards to past experience of the political impasse and other political tensions that has gripped the nation's peace, the Army General deemed it necessary to engage both the military, religious, and the community elders to maintain peace and tranquility. The country's army chief also warned the men and women in uniform to do away with tribal sentiments, as it could generate precedents in the Gambia, especially with the tension of the upcoming elections. Reporting for iAfrica News in the West Coast region, I am Mariama Cham.
Thank you very much. That is very important. They are calling for peace. Peace is something that we should all cherish. It's very important, and this is what we have in this country. And as a result, we are called. We should maintain peace by all means. And CDS call is very laudable. It's a laudable one. And considering the fact that we are in an election year, and election comes with a lot of issues, so as a result, it's very important to remind people of, you know, what Gambia really stands for, which is peace. So Lolo amna solo torop CDS drama be legi mung si nationwide tobi te way gis nañ ne dal fu munti dem rek daf de ote jama rek mo gëna am solo te jama rek moy tax rew mi mëna dem ci kanam. Without jama rew du mëna dem ci kanam. So way comme numa len ko dicter rek suma guest yi suma gan yi ex nañ gaa ñun ci studio bi fii tey nag luñ leen amal moo nekk di Gambia Chef Association ñooñu lañ leen andil fii te chef ku ko dégga rek xam nga ne mbiri tooga la so am na solo torop ku nekk bugga nga tooga surtout ma suma jóobeen yi suma joolaa yi ak suma séeréer yi ñoom daal lekk rek la ñoo def bugga nañ lekk torop so sonna naa pour di leen dundal nag fu mu nekk nii léegi am na solo ñooñu laa fi am pour ñu wax ñu lan moo nekk gaay seen mission bi fan lañ represent Gambia nañ Gambia si fànn yu bari waaye nag gaay dinañu ko mun a wax loolu noonu yëpp ñu andil ñu tamit lan lañ nekk di yëngatu ak seen liggéey bi with the government and all that, but before that xaaral ma introduce gaay rek quickly rek ñu xuus si programme bi rek because am naa fi Seeku Bojang ku nekk di president of the Gambia Chef Association. Good morning, Mr. Bojang, and welcome to the Good Morning Africa program.
Good morning, and thank you for having us on today.
Thank you. And of course, I have on my far left, I have Haruna Musa Dabo, who is the Vice President of the Gambia Chef Association. Good morning, Mr. Dabo, and welcome to the program.
Good morning, sister. And thank you very much for hosting us.
Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen, for honoring our invitation on the Good Morning Africa program. We just start with the president of the Gambia Chef Association, which is Mr. Bojang. Mr. Bojang, tell us about Gambia Chef Association. When did it start? And, you know, how far have you gone?
Wow, fantastic, great. To the viewers, the Gambia Chef Association started far back in 2005. And that was before I got back. So with that, the aim is having to bring and synchronize all chefs within the country and taking the lead in having to be responsible of their own hospitality industry, allowing the Gambian to take charge of the chef positions in the hotels. The reason being is that we've seen that the Gambian chef industry, especially the heads, are being consumed by foreigners, you know, because we believe in foreign experts neglecting our own people. So the Chef Association came about just to make sure we showcase our skills and talents and also to prepare ourselves towards battling to conquer the chef industry. So moving forward, we came into power in about 2019. So obviously a 2-year mandate, which obviously elapsed this next month. Of course, we'll be going on a congress on the end of this month at 31st of July. So our achievements were Chef Association represented the Gambia. Of course, we go to represent the Gambia, not a title to be given to an individual, but it's to the nation. They've been to South Africa. Nigeria has also been visited, and then of course not only to visit but to participate in a competition wherein we came home with victory. We also went to Ghana on the West African cooking competition, which is like what we call a WAFest, which is the West African Food Festival, alongside having to bring linkages between the African cuisines and also to bring all African chefs together and also to help diversify the uses of our own local ingredients and also to bring, let's say, Gambian to Nigerian food exchange. When talk of gastronomy, it's more to do with food and the culture. Okay. So the food culture also has been brought in because of this WAFES. So on that as well, we went to Ghana, wherein...
Okay, so you're not only focusing on the dish, but even the cultural aspect of it.
Yes.
Wow.
So, yeah, meaning we looking at how do we go back to the classic cuisines where health is derived from. Because when you look at it these days, the Gambian cuisines have been really modified in the wrong way.
That's an important point, because the issue of modifying our dishes to or cuisines to international standards, other people will say it like, let us modify these things. I mean, is that even necessary in the first place? What is wrong with our local dishes?
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. I think the concept is good,
okay,
but it's the way the concept is being displayed and showcased.
Okay.
Because when you look at it, it's like, and we actually had to go out and represent the Gambia with the Gambian cuisine when it comes about, in fact, I will just bring it to, let's say, the latest one, which was in, not the latest one, but the biggest winning that was in Ghana. We actually used our goron soup.
Wow.
That came out to be the best starter. But it's all the way how it's been presented and how it's been tailored and plated. Then you come to the chicken yassa as well. And then to surprise you as well, when it came to the dessert, we used our usual churrasco.
Wow.
The chura gerte was also
Who would have believed that chura gerte will take the Gambia to the international standard?
Right. So, like I said, it's all about the way you tailor it, the way you present it. That's what counts. But when you look at it today, I've seen so many ways of techniques of cooking, I would call it, which are really wrong. Pardon me. For instance, like these days, when you see women cooking, they'll be using, I don't know how they call it. They call it dore. I don't know how they call it. So basically, they will fry up the...
Not dore.
Not dore. They will fry up the tomato paste, the tomato puree, which actually, that's really wrong, because what you're doing is like you're separating all the elements to stand on their own.
Wow.
Right?
Okay.
When tomato paste is actually an enhancer that gives you the color of the tomatoing, and of course gives you the starch, which is going to help you in binding or thickening of your meal. But it's not like how we do it these days. It's wrong and it's not healthy. And the second thing as well is the frying and the killing of the onions, I'll call it.
Killing of the
killing of the onions, because
you
literally
fry them until they turn to black.
Yes. And then now let me just give a little question to say here, like black is carbon, and carbon is a metal. Is metal easily digested?
No.
So what are we doing to ourselves?
Slowly killing ourselves, perhaps.
Exactly. So, and then now the efficiency, the efficacy, the importance and the nutritional value of that onion that we needed to have is not there anymore. It's gone. When onion alone have a few things in it, of course it gets sugars in it, which is sugars to starch, and it also got a little bit of fat, oil, and also it can be used as a sedative effect. So you're losing all that by killing it. And then now we have to consume that and say we are happy with it. Because what we have a new way. Pardon me, when you go back to olden days, our grandparents, today you give, let's say, $100 or $200 to somebody to go, a woman or a wife to go and cook benachin. You give $20 to an old woman to cook benachin. That benachin will look nicer, tastier, and better than yours.
Yeah, that's what the old women used to say. Like,
and it's true.
We don't have money, but we cook better than these children of these days.
So we just literally, I'm sorry that I've derived a little bit away from it.
It's okay.
So
it helps.
then from there as well, we Gambians are literally lucky, and because we are talented, we're great in what we do, but we don't really know that until when we go out of the country. Because technically, far back in during Ramadan time, towards the end of it, pardon me, I represented the Gambia, of course, in the Gambia again, with the banner of the Gambia flag in Togo. And then what dish was presented there was the yassa.
Yassa.
And yassa won. Imagine having to contest with you have the world chefs from, let's say, South Africa, Nigeria, Ghana, all those, they have to present their country cuisine. So we Gambians, have our yassa that we took on board, and it was well presented, and the palate, which is the taste, was there, and of course the look was there as well. It was appealing to the eye. And that made it like one of the best. It got 3 awards. The best, the most consumed, best presented, and cost effective.
Congratulations to Team Gambia.
Thank you.
All right, I'll get back to you, but let me just go to Mr. Dabo, who is the Vice President. Mr. Dabo, told me to yeah, comme Gambia domorol mimi yan ko sain teng comme nganna domorol fango bulalen kata maybe Senegal la domorol, maybe other countries la jo coming nga kuoni westernized le to an extent that ni Gambia domorol ta ya tabi molbuka domo bake kamta chura gerte akamta durango lachiri, even in the provinces saying people don't eat that, like everybody is westernized. So itabe mune fono la mole wo fana to aning koma tol albe challenging jumale sotokang alla dokuoto albe challenge ba sotokang because I Gambian all westernized tale mo ba fol okay ente mutuba bolti ente mo fin domorol domola oh yeah for among healthy for is that the case?
No. Gambia, we are very lucky to back it because niajen ta outside competition ola data Nigeria Nelson Mandela Challenge, that is African cuisine. Ntolenga sekonta Gambia. Adu mamfen tabifo na findo anin dongoda.
Wow.
You cannot believe it. Ground soup, me along ko mol kaf sa fo mol ma muta fenti.
Fentia.
Ground soup.
Foni fresco be mol de ya fo dem nga toga ground soup rek.
Ground soup nga wala ken na started. Yaje ni mol ko ka modify. That doesn't mean ko ibela tabiri nyaale falinna. Wala ibela sisinin falinna. Wala ibe kudol kela je mili along ko among important. You understand? Ninko nga modify. Modification is wala to ka samba international standard. Until Kambenke, we have the typical way of cooking Gambian dish itself.
Okay.
But nimba modify la to international standard. Abekala plate in it, like presentation.
Okay.
The way you present, ibe Gambian dish iba present la nyadi palato kang. Iba present la nyadi moye puru aya kontandi. You know, pur ay domoro nyin like. Appetite so janni abamal. Nyinem fengote me alon ko ba fala nga samba international standard nga modify intel ka woleke. Bari believe me sister, Gambia la domoro a manyon sort throughout Africa.
Wow.
Na domoro nka juti menna atele be nte sa fono because ntata Nigeria le nga seconda ntata Ghana nga fosta. You can understand. Nanin domorol lem. The only thing can make a wolong presentation nka wole falling.
Falling. Bari a tabir nyaawo.
But tabir nyaawo mu typical Gambian tabir nyaal. Nsa fo ko yo jele wala diata Africa domoro beti. Gambia la domoro.
Then Gambia, we should be really proud, huh?
Definitely.
We should be really proud of ourselves. Come normally, kan fan doyale, come ni make it even sign in the restaurant, sign restaurant on see at again. But most cases, restaurant all from coming wafi. In near Gambian dish lem abukasia. Come other dishes, wala kasia Gambian dish.
Nyine atin nandi. Mba try kang purka Gambia domoro ka wafi. Because nisara China, Chinese cuisine nabije. The same thing nisara India. Ila kori nyolom Indian cuisine nabije. You understand? All right. So mbenyin try kambake la puru ni nata Gambia fanan. Menketa nka 4-star outside puru ka mall attract to Gambian cuisine. Momundi nata to Gambia iba fulanko alla dumuda. You understand? Alla dumuda le, alla nyindole, alla findole. You understand?
Yeah.
So definitely mbo try kambake le. As time goes on, mbe lafta puru ka buko fanan bondi. Gambian cuisine, only Gambian cuisine.
Cuisine and how to prepare
and how to prepare it.
I think that is
both
very important.
Both the recipe and the menu, the picture, everything, the color, everything.
Wow, that is
so,
really good. I'm looking forward to that.
Na problemo be damen demanding. Ma koy balia fanan kam soto baki.
Ha, ma koy balia de ha.
Mbido ko la ñi non sanji sabati. Ntara Ghana ntolenga 4-star, the best chef of West Africa. West Africa warli nyamim kambele foster
nyanta kala national celebration olti
but hanim bi mon president fonga jeno. You cannot believe that.
Like seriously, you come, you will not almantara support Sotokang at the government level?
This is the problem.
Like with all these achievements?
With all these achievements, sign. Kabrin kata Nigeria. In Solata Purkam, Timo men samba. Because student challenge bijel. Nelson Mandela challenge bije. Green cooking bije. You understand? You'll be more lenient tala in competition or bail. But the student challenge mammo sort of a member out. Because mono man ticket also.
Ticket soto balia.
This is it. Ticket nani nga wala soto no. Out of 7 ticket. O ticket nani intel mo nani tata. Njenguta competition nanata nka mo fulata ngata. Nga bewin. Ghana, the same thing. They'll find Lenara struggle pour que na tiketo mo 7 na nyantatala mo nani damati nga mo fula tiketo la soto. Tiket fula don tele nga struggle ka jo pour ka samba. Mbukata ko min kata safe bojanne. Mbukata ko min kata safe dabole. Nkata pour Gambia le. Ngamira Nigeria kabiring nga foster ye mira bankol membo ko South Africa bankol membo ko Nigeria fam wol wara bata Gambia tele wol hada madum siya bata Gambia tele ye Gambia flago ta wokono e koy Gambia le foster ya ci kasanto ina ye bori wom kubalti yalo manki save dabot
honestly
so muna nang intel best salisa intel best struggle la why
it's a big question, and which needs to be which need an answer. So, but I will come back to you. That is very important, just to make sure that we are on the same spot. Mr. Bojang, Mr. Dabo did mention something very important, which is the making sure that you take the Gambia forward, but then that lack of support from that government level. He elaborated on that, and I think these are some of the challenges you people are encountering. So you people currently, you fund yourself to go to international events. Just to elaborate on what he's saying, because he was talking in Mandinka. So for people to actually know what the message is, you people struggle to fund yourself in all the international competitions?
That's really true, because we are in the forefront of it, because I'll take you to, let's say, the Ghana one, wherein we 5 of us went, and then of course 5 of us. We struggled so hard. Literally, we knocked every single door to support us, to airlift us to the country. We, in fact, didn't ask for pocket money or to literally get any accommodation from them. All we needed is airlifting to represent our country, the Gambia. And in this, we expected the nation to take responsibility and take ownership, because we using the flag of the country. There had never been a win wherein a name of an individual has been called upon, but it's always the name of the country and the flag of the country being represented fully. So we had difficulties even when we were going to Ghana at that time. It was on the last dying second when we actually had to go into loaning of tickets.
Take loads.
Yes. We're so thankful to Alcamba Tours, which is Sekou Basisa, the owner, who actually loaned us, I think, the tickets, and we paid whatever we could at the time just to represent the Gambia. And when we came back, believe me, we got received well at the airport by the minister and the then director of GT board at the foot of the plane on a VIP lounge. But we were expecting...
Let me get this straight. I mean, prior to going, did you engage the government of the Gambia through the Minister of Tourism about your going? Were they aware of your going to Ghana?
They were fully aware of it. Fully, because they are our line minister. And we wouldn't do anything without having to knock on their doors. We went all the way to the last minute until they pushed us to the corner when GT board said, okay, they can only give us about nearly 2 tickets out of the 5. 5 tickets? Yeah, to represent the country. And in fact, the funny story was that we arrived in Ghana. The next day of the competition, the first day of the familiarization day for the competition, we got told, I had a little chat with the director of the tourism board of Ghana, who just said to me, oh, your Gambians were here yesterday. And I said, who? The people from GT board. They came here for a conference. And then from this conference, they were having I'm sure they had their per diems, they had their hotel accommodations done. And then this was on the low key because no one knew about it. But they went to market the country, tourism. But what could be more marketing than a competition wherein you come in with a trophy, where your flag is actually raised beyond everywhere, swinged about everywhere, and everyone having to post it in their social media. In fact, we were on the televisions of Ghana and other countries.
And imagine not even in the country.
So, in that, I would say we've been really neglected by the government. And I'll give you again, when going to Togo, I wasn't meant to go alone. Because every country representing their nation, the participants came in a group and large numbers. Could you imagine Nigeria came with 17 people, Ghana came with 12, South Africa came with 4, 2 participated. And then, not to talk about the Liberians and other countries. But Gambia is only 1 representative because we couldn't get ticket from anybody. All we did was that we knocked the doors of the minister. In fact, what he told us was the country or the GT board is going through tough times because of the COVID-19. And on that, they will not be able to fund anything towards our ticketing.
Wow.
And then to me, I'm like, that's a slap in the face. Because one thing we need to understand is that a country, if the country is driven by tourism, there's something we call food tourism. And if we are to promote our food tourism through a cheaper way by having to just send us tickets for us to go and represent the Gambia, market the food of the country in other countries, international level, what are we doing other than having to promote our food tourism? You go to other countries like Thailand and Taiwan, they are known for their food. And people will fly country to country to go and enjoy and indulge in their food tourism. What is the Gambia doing towards that? Why do Gambian tourism or the GT board will go and have a stand in the UK to say we are on a trade fair to sell the Gambian cuisine? Trade fair? Flying a whole nation to the United Kingdom with per diems and everything?
Gambia Chef Association.
When the engineers, the pioneers of the cuisine or the dishes are the chefs. Why are the chefs left behind? Could you believe when it comes to world skills as well? They will not pick any chefs. Instead, they will go and represent the Gambia. What
Mr.
are you doing there?
These are serious allegations. Like, you want to tell me that in all these competitions, in all this that is happening, the minister or the ministry or even the government itself will not fund a dime to support you people. And if we're told when it comes to supporting the Gambia or taking the Gambian name to another level, it's them that will go instead of the rightful people that are supposed to represent the Gambia?
When it comes to marketing the tourism, Gambia destination, the chefs are not included in this.
In any?
In any. And I'm saying it in any. The reason why I'm proudly saying this is because I am the president, he's the vice president. Okay. I believe if any of us would have been taken, we would have been contacted for us to give a nominee to represent the chefs. But we have never been contacted for. We only got contacted once by the tourism, but that's just to write a book under UNDP, WHO, which is the cuisine, which of course we did. But that is really, really a cheap way. That's too cheap. They should understand that chefs, we are the engineers. We are, in fact, the machines of our tourism. Because when a guest comes from a different country, they want to indulge into our food cultures. And the one behind that pot is the chef. So if you leaving them behind, that means you bring in a question to the sustainability of your food tourism in your country. And then we as chefs, we will not suffer if the hotels are shut down. But the hotels will suffer if no chefs are in the hotels. So why are we not seen as an indispensable element in the tourism? But instead, we are the most neglected. When it comes to even pay, they will be proud to import experts to this country and pay them fat salaries, but not a Gambian to be pushed to be given the salary. Where did we go wrong? What's going on? Do we ask ourselves this question?
Wow. So does that mean that it's the reason why the tourism sector is right now at the brink of a collapse? Because normally the government will tell you it's as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. But is that the case?
Not really, no. Because if they have instituted this food tourism in this country, right now the COVID kicked in and then hotels shut down. That doesn't mean the restaurants are not flying out. That doesn't mean people are not doing private catering. So we are surviving. And this private catering is working well for many people. When you go into some really, some restaurants, some of them are full. Like I would just call one of the restaurants I was working at, the Luna Lounge. You go in there like during the weekend, it's jam-packed. and other restaurants. So despite the COVID and the hotels are shut, does that mean the food is shut? No. We will still eat. There will even come a time wherein people may not even go to a hotel to eat. You will just sit at your home and call food to be delivered to your house. Who is going to be the one to cook for that food? It's going to be the chef. And it's based on the palate, the texture, the taste, the quality that's been provided that make you call that person to bring that food. So if we don't encourage and empower our own people, the ones that have been imported to come to the country to serve or to cook for us or to be paid with those fat salaries, do you think they will give us the secrets? They will not, because they will be insecure to give us those secrets. Because meaning, if we know the secrets, do we need them?
And those people will not cook Gambian dishes or cuisines.
They will not. And in fact, what they will come is that they will do the paperwork. You see, an executive chef, we have two pockets here. One is for a spoon, and one is for a pen. Taste or sign. All right. Yes, okay, or no. That's all they do. File working around. The one that gets to do the jobs are the chefs of the Gambia. So where are they supporting? I think, in fact, there's something to do with the Ministry of Trade. Because
Trade too, yeah.
Yes, because if they are allowing these foreign experts, we call them experts, because when they come here, we don't see what they got to give us. I have worked with executive chefs, and I always love to compete with them in the country here. Anyone that's called an executive chef in this country here, I want to compete the person to show you that I can do better than you can. I don't mind whoever you are. Come, even if they want, they can partner against one person. I'm more than happy to go for that.
Oh, that's really good. That's a good one there. Mr. Bojang, Mr. Dabo, Mr. Bojang ye kukumalle foja government la kula. And akole ko government bukal support in all the international competitions. And ika experts ole nati na Gambia memo yalon ko atolle nyanto fon kala bari ba experts ole nati lale memo yalon ko nyanto doko kala atol nyanta men kala experts ole bo doko kala. Sa nying abe Gambia la fenko fa ka nyaadine comme Gambia la branding aba fa ka nyaadine and aya contribute nyaadine pour Gambia nol fango katina fo Gambia nol fango bikola on ko respect but ka western ko respect government ya contribute nyaadine.
Ya contribute back as far as chefs are concerned. Because memu ni man kawai fam ebe kawala memma wote mako ela ka example wotante famala. I'm the executive chef of Holiday Beach Club Hotel at the moment for more than 10 years. Tubabo men beka na hotelot. Ni atari mantara ke kan nuwa nyama biiten tarlaje. Munan nang wol mang expert nati because yalon ne ko we can do it. Gambia we can do it. Nsa kenole adumba ke kan. Ni aje mbe fintila mbida competition ni kopol bina ni medalol bina isalon ko mbake kan na dun sa kenole. So membe nyin kato sifa keke ngamira anyantala pour ya makoy ministry kam makoy nin solo ticket lulu nin solo ticket warwula e kam makoy ticket killing ticket fulal makoy roli ba ni mbukata chef dabo ya la mbukata chef bojang nkata gambiale mo men nyanta mo warwula sambale ye mo fula tiketo di wala e lafta la eta foy man la fayta
mamire lafta eta de.
Thank you. Ni aje Gambian cuisine hansa na domoro manta ni aje Gambian cuisine hansa amam fintino anyanta futala dame ta Senegal cebu jen is everywhere in the world.
Wale dominate Senegal.
Thank you. It's
and
everywhere in the world.
Itara
Dauda sign cebu jen is everywhere in the world. internet everywhere ya jiba bije competition on teleka wol dang teleka foster teleka wol be dang gambien teleka foster munan nan hanin bintel be koma isalo mako e bal yalam you know if you can put under consideration with all the effort me men keka pour gambia ye katu montara ke kantel kun kelingol ye ni ñong gambiano e mo sembentu ya e be jumal sembentu ya ntel lawuluta jan tel nga ko soda nka ke jan bar do men binaw ay ko do ko soda nakatale iyanta jumal mako le yanta jumal sembentu ya
gambiano
ni nga foye ñi non sanji naniti competition nin tatala gambia ka fosta wala gambia seconda sinya kilina ga seconda nigeria e kany den ko men beje mo laten ñimbe mu wa fesle West African Food Festival yen den ko la ñil bet because nga force leta medalol ko pola be abebe gambia la bulu be bitilo men to saya abebe ental la bulu August ñanta tala dola Liberia
andu nal ya soto nal nata Gambia government ka VIP treatment o le dial
airport itatam bendu nje to nya membe foto airport fo bi maji a manke
ngone fota ani mem manke ngol be ko inde
mbe lola lienne mbal mako yelale a lafta femfendinna mba kelal yenne next time na sota anything la alena mba kelal yenne mbe galadina organize la yenne fem manke
wol be hani fenkili manke
hani fem manke hani mbi mbe struggle ka asat now kunu tetata e ala en olto nganna tiketin be nga be fenkota invoice olta e bebe mbul asat now sa mbe muneke ka me muneke la nte personally ni all Gambian Association fongata individual asike nga natel ya ngata mol dani pour na August tiketol ya understand ni moke ngalo ne kon tita koteke hanim bita mo fulale bita den ni moke so fonsita nga letterol ki molia pour ka mol dani you understand so mbole ke kan at the moment so momon din sim mako no fana August long kata Gambia le manta individually momon din sim mako no any amount of ticket any ticket so lotala tellement sur le pocket money la kata Gambia le ngata Gambia ye ngana jikita ko be ko pol nat la ko rek alal de maro
inshallah so Mr. Bojan just like what Mr. Dabo was saying you're supposed to go to another competition in August.
Yes, indeed. We've got another because we have to go and defend our championship. Okay. So defending a championship means you have to prepare well for it. And we're facing loads of difficulties when it comes to the competition, enhancing of or raising the funds for it. Because, of course, before going to the competition, you have to prepare your team. Meaning the training has to be done. You need to take them for a little, kind of like give them some practical training before you get to the ground. That's really important because you need to gear them with the weapons to win, one. And two, the other things that like we're still struggling like in ticketing because we haven't even got a ticket.
You're supposed to have how many tickets? Seven
tickets.
You do not have
we
even
don't
one.
even have one because whatever we do all comes from the association's money, and an association doesn't have money because there is no money put in. You can, let's say, I'll give an example of when we came back from Ghana. Liberia came 4th position on one category. When they return home, they go received by the president. The president of Liberian Chef Association got given a car. They got an office space, and the whole team was given where they got what called regalias to crown them as people that went and did something well for the country. Right now, every single activity done in Liberia is sponsored by the Ministry of Tourism, Ministry of Interior, and the Office of the President. Why not the Gambia? In that competition where they came 4th position on one category, Gambia went on 4 categories. We won first place in all the 3. We came first, and came second on one category, which was country main dish, which actually we came first, but because we cannot take all, according to them. So the Ghanaians had to retain one, which is the main. So we came second. So we came first position in 3 categories and second on 1 category. They only came out 4th position on 1 category. They got given all this. We go to Nigeria. They came second on pastry on 1 category. I'm saying 1 category they came second on. When they returned to Nigeria, each of them was awarded. And I think there were 17 participants. And then they have an office. The Gambia Chef Association doesn't even have a space, an office space. We wrote to the ministry, we wrote to GT board, we went around, we asked from the ministry to the GT board for them to help us, even an office space. And we actually requested to have a space where we can be doing the training for our participants. We can be mooling training our chefs for exportation of experts. We don't even have any of this. After winning all these trophies, we're still being on our limbo. Not ground, not up. So it's really discouraging that a country so successful in the career when it comes to the cuisine, but when it comes to the support of these people who are taking the flag of the country up, we are seen as nobody. The football team, what are they bringing home? Yes, football is something else, but football cannot bring much into this country. What brings much to this country is tourism. And tourism plays a major role. They are the key employer. In fact, the GDP is, the biggest GDP in the Gambia is tourism. So where's football? When football just qualified, they got given 11 million. Only qualified, not winning. We qualified, we won trophies, but still we couldn't even be given a ticket to fly out. Where is the patriotism been, where's the balance on this equation? Where are we?
Wow, time bidal jamu nañu. But just for him to quickly tell us, you're going to Monrovia, right?
Yes.
In August.
Yeah.
And you're calling for the support of the government and other individuals and all that. We just want you to quickly elaborate on that.
Yeah.
You're good because orders have already passed, but the one that is coming in, you need 7 tickets to go, but you did not have even one, and this is July.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. This is our country, this is our people, this is our national team. It's our pride to support our country. It's not the chefs alone you're supporting your own people who are going to be the chefs and the payment. So basically, support the team to fly out of the country to go and raise the banner, the flag of the country, by giving us a ticket or anything that you can afford. Help us to help our people and retain the pride of our country through food.
Thank you. Yes, Mr. Dabo. Quickly, rek nga ne da nga bëgg dem si wolof.
Bokki wolof yi. Ñun ñoo fi nekk Gambia Chef Association. Ñoo leen fi nekkal pour wone leen ne ñu ngi fi ben tay. Anyway, August ñëwaat na dañ dee dem competition fu mu nekk ni ñun ñoo nekk gold medalist yi si competition bu xewoon Ghana ñun ñoo jëloon first Gambia so ñu jógaat August ñu ngi demaat pour competition yeah so ndimbal mooy suñ problème ñun definitely dañ nit ndimbal amuñ ndimbal fenn so dañ nit ndimbal so képp ku ñu dégg rek nga xam ne dañu ngi dem August Monrovia Liberia ñu ngi solo 7 ticket waaw inshallah thank you very much ñu ngi leen nuyu yéen yëpp inshallah waaw
ngeen wax ñu nomba yi rek yoo xam ne anyone ku leen bugg a jàppale rek nomba yoo xam ne daal mun nañ leen laa oo pour mun leen jàppale si seen
man suma nomba personally mooy 7717850 waaw save that
répétaat ko pour ñi ñi mun ko
7717850 save Dabo
okay Mr. Boja.
My number is 718-5140. 718-5140.
Okay, those are the numbers. Well, viewers, we have come to the end of the first episode of the Good Morning Africa program. Like I said earlier on, that we have two guests this morning to talk to us about pertinent issues. That was the Gambia Chef Association, the President Sekou Bojang, and of course the Vice President Haruna Musa Dabo. Thank you so very much, gentlemen, for honoring our invitation in coming to the Good Morning Africa program.
Thank you very much, and
God bless you.
Much appreciated.
And thank you, viewers. That's all we have for you for this first episode of the Good Morning Africa program. We will take a short break and we will come back to talk about other issues with another guest. Thank you, and do stay tuned.
Our sun is running out. Our smiling coast is losing its beauty. Our women are losing their gardens, and our children are losing their future. Our communities infested with mosquitoes and crocodiles attacking and killing our children. Communities are in a state of devastation in exchange for new cities, new buildings, and new roads. Sand mining is not an alternative for the Gambia. Sand dredging is the solution. SMJ is a Gambian-owned company located at Denton Bridge. At SMJ, we dredge fine sand from sea without destruction. Sand dredged from sea is the best solution to keep developing our infrastructure to last a lifetime. SMJ is for a better future. Stop by Denton Bridge. Call us today on +220 277 7753.
The pride we take in our brand, the work we put into constantly change the landscape and elevate real estate in the Gambia, it's compared to none. From inception, our goal was to add value to the beautiful Gambian landscape. That's why we are proud innovators of community estates. Kololi Sands is an exceptional piece of work, tailored for ultimate convenience and luxury, to bring you an element of finesse that is rare but unique in its own. This is also our pride and joy, and we welcome you to the exquisite beauty right here in Kololi and right here on the waterfront. Kololi Sands, feel the ocean breeze at your doorstep.
Welcome back. If you're just tuning in, this is your favorite Good Morning Africa program coming to you live on iAfrica TV, and I am Julden Jai Suare. Many thanks indeed for the pleasure of your company. Like I said, we have two guests. The first one was the Gambia Chef Association, and of course, now we are talking about the Access to Information Bill. And here with me on the studio is Mohamed M.S. Ba, who is the Vice President of the Gambia Press Union. Good morning, Mr. Ba, and welcome to the program.
Yeah, it's a pleasure having me.
Thank you. Mr. Ba, as you know, the Access to Information Bill has been enacted by the parliamentarians yesterday, which, you know, it's in the mouth of everybody, and everybody was celebrating it, especially the journalists. How important is this bill?
Thank you very much. This bill is very important because we know the Gambia is now transitioning from an autocratic regime to a democratic dispensation. And democracy cannot be strengthened. It cannot thrive without, people having access to information. If you look at the Constitution, it has already created a base for citizens to access information. And accessing information is a right. It's a fundamental human right, even if you look at the Universal Declaration, Article 19, it has already stated, and even the African Charter. So how can we ensure that these rights are given to the people without infringement? We know that even the Gambia, during the colonial era, we have laws that impede access to information. And could you imagine those laws are still existing? So the Public Secret Act and the other, laws that are impeding people right to public information. So you will see that what can we do to ensure that people access information is to come up with a robust legal framework that will protect the right to information. So that is why this bill is very important, though it took a lot of time.
2019 to 2020.
Since 2019, yeah. So probably I will end there. But the importance as well, the other aspect is it will help the citizens to access in public informations that are relevant to the lives and livelihood of people, not only journalists. It will also help the work of journalists as well as civil society, because now instead of the public officials relying on the bad laws, it will deter them from relying on the bad laws to say, okay, I'm using this law not to give you information.
Is it possible that they still can use those bad laws to deter people from accessing information? Like you said, these laws are already in our books. Is it, will they use it still to deter people from accessing information? Because there are also laws, unless if they are repealed by the National Assembly.
Yeah, actually, in the law, that is the Access to Information Bill, it has an overriding effect. It has a clause that states...
That's a good point.
Yes, it has an overriding effect. Remember, this bill was a civil society-led, it's for the first time, initiated by the GPU and then led by the Civil Society Coalition on Access to Information, which the Gambia Bar Association is part of. We have legal experts, and then using other models, other African models. And then I can tell you, this is the best model that you can ever see in the African continent.
Wow.
Yeah, of course, because this bill is going to have a commission, establish a commission that will specifically overlooked or have, like being an implementing body to this bill specifically.
For that?
Yes, for that. We will have 5 commissioners.
Because
you might be even employ one of the commissioners probably. It might, yeah, of course. So it's important to note that. And then, it's like going to the overriding effect. It is there, a specific clause stating that this bill has an overriding effect on some of the laws that are not reasonable to a democratic society, some of the laws that will impede people accessing information. And it has penalties.
Those are the penalties. Okay, the penalty aspect, I am specifically interested in that, because now we live in a country, like you said, our history, the past is not so pleasant, and where access to information is very hard, and sometimes when you receive sensitive public information, like they always call it's a sensitive public information, you are jailed or arrested for it, or you are intimidated. But now the penalty aspect of it, what happens if a person requires a public information and it is not given to them?
Yes, thank you. Yes, it has a penalty, and each department will have an information officer who will facilitate that, but they are not answerable to the ministry or department. They are answerable to the commission.
Okay.
So those are the ones.
Let's get this straight, because it's a very important point.
Yes.
Already all the ministries have information com officers and all that. So you're saying that people will also have other information or communication officers who will not be answerable to the ministry.
Exactly.
To oversee this.
They will be answerable to the commission. The commission is an independent autonomy body, who can be appointed by the president through the National Assembly, and they cannot be terminated. The president, if in the case of termination, the president will establish an inquiry, an independent inquiry, to do an investigation on the allegations of, if in case they said you are abusing office or whatever. The investigation will be mounted, which is an independent body that will mount an investigation, and that report should go to the National Assembly approved before the president can sack you. So you can see the rigorousness of that. So they will not be toothless bulldogs, and they can file cases through the high courts and the Supreme Court if necessary.
Okay.
Yes. So anyone who is found wanting, the penalty is minimum fine is $50,000 to 500,000, and then one year imprisonment or 6 months. So you can see you will not, they can even do both. You can be fined and jailed.
Jailed at the same time.
Yes, so obviously, and also it will enhance our public record keeping.
Record keeping.
Yes.
I will come to that because that's a very important point that you mentioned, record keeping, and that was lingering in my mind. Like record in this country, we don't have it. Even statistics of this country, sometimes it's very difficult for people to know how many people are even in this country, because others will tell you 2.4, 2.2. Others will tell you we are even less than 2.
Yeah.
So that is very difficult. But before then, let's talk about the issue of the officers that will be, hired by the commission. Okay, if anyone wants public information from a particular department, are you going to the communication officers hired by the ministry, or you will the officers hired by the commission will give you that particular information?
They are the ones that will facilitate. The commission now will facilitate all the processes.
Okay.
Like through their communication officers.
Okay.
And those officers are also answerable to the commission. They have to report, like how many people have filed the information, to get the information, what are some of the challenges, do they have information and stuffs. So it is not the information officers who are directly answerable to the ministries or departments. These are communication officers who are directly answerable to the commission. So, and there are procedures, for instance, and also there is for instance, if you need an information which is audio visual or an information which is, in text and you need it in a hard copy, it's the commission that will determine the price of that information. For instance, you need it, it will cost government money, but obviously they will tell you, for instance, if you need 3 pages, they will say, okay, each page is dalasi or tala.
Okay.
So it's the information officer
based
on the
attached to the information that
if it incurs,
okay.
because you are the one who needs it. If
yeah.
it incurs. And this applies to every citizen. It's not only journalists. For instance,
so
you want to know...
anyone can access...
Exactly. You want to know, for example, okay, how much is the president spending on food based on the public money? For instance, I'm just giving an example.
Yeah.
Probably there are more information that are, relevant to the public. For instance, or the COVID money. You want to know, you request a breakdown of the spending of the COVID money from the Ministry of Health, but through the information. Through those communication officers who are answerable. So it is now the onus on the ministry to work within the timeline. For instance, I think the bill has a timeline, maybe 2 weeks, maybe 1 week. You cannot exceed that. If you exceed that timeline, you have to justify reasonably why are you denying that? But notwithstanding, there are informations that are called classified informations on public, national security. For instance, if you want to ask information about how many arms do the Gambia Armed Forces have.
Those are sensitive
Exactly,
issues.
it's very sensitive.
That
so
should
those
be
are
clear, because sometimes other people can just request for classified information, which will put this country into...
So obviously those are informations that are restricted. Maybe cabinet meetings where they discuss very important and sensitive issues of national concern. You can request it, but in the case that the secretary tells you how sensitive that is, you cannot get that information.
But again, MS, we live in a country whereas, for instance, even a workshop, for instance, agreements between 2 countries like the EU and the Gambia government sign an agreement on, for instance, fishing agreement.
Yeah.
You get the information from the EU, not the Gambia government. They will tell you the information is a classified one.
Don't worry, those kind of informations are not classified information.
Informations like that, they will tell you no. There's because maybe there is a foul play.
No, that is why now the law is there. Agreement on behalf of the country, which could cost Gambia public funds, monies. Obviously, people are going to know it, so you will request it, and obviously you'll have it. If you don't, the commission will take its course, and then the charges are there. So I don't think people will definitely risk their lives. And it also has a component of whistleblower protection. That is, people who are in government who can give out relevant information that are detrimental. For instance, you're working and you see the decisions of your department is going to jeopardize the country's security. You know, obviously, someone is abusing office, doing corruption scandals. You can use this and then give out information.
And you will not be sacked.
No way. It's a whistleblower protection.
Super important.
It is very important. And it will also help the government, as I said, the record keeping. It also, because you must keep the record.
There are government institutions, even if you ask them the number of staff you have.
Exactly.
My goodness, they will not even tell you.
And that is
how bad it is.
That's bad. A country cannot develop without a proper statistics, a proper recording, a proper record keeping. You know, because if you are funding something, it has to be on evidence base. Your need, how many people are here, what do they need, and then also who are serving the people, who is doing what. So I think all those things, and what kind of things that are they doing, what kind of projects, what are the financial implications. I think all those things should be kept, you know, and then now the bill is there. So what we are hoping is the president will not take time to assent to the bill, because after any enactment, it gives 30 days for the president to assent to the bill.
So, but will the president assent to the bill? Many people
even if you don't assent, the parliament has the overriding power. Okay. What they do,
that's a good point.
Yeah, of course. This is check and balance.
People are like, okay, maybe President Barrow will not assent to the bill, and if he did not assent to the bill, maybe the bill will just die, just like the constitution. So this is a point that needs to be
the parliament has the power. The parliament has the powers. The president is just to tell him. But in the case that he has some issues, he can comment and then put that, okay, these are the reasons that I will not assent to it. I want the parliament to adjust it. The parliament will look at it, and then if they deem it necessary, they adjust. If they deem it not, then they take it back to the president like that, and then he has to assent it within a given period, a lesser date. Then if he did not, the parliament can also move a motion to make the bill a law automatically.
So does that include, like, for instance, agreements or government information that happened maybe in 2016 or even in Jammeh's regime? Even if you want information about, can you still
information is information now. You know, government is an institution that that is there. You know, the government is like an institution that works from regime to regime, but the governments never change. It stays. So any information you want, obviously, you can get it. It has to be in the public space. So this will also help journalists, to use this law to strengthen their work. And then make sure that
especially investigative
journalism.
Sometimes it's very hard. You have a long chain from the cleaner up before you reach the boss is a problem. Maybe it will take you months.
And bureaucracy. So it will unnecessary bureaucracy will be squashed.
Bureaucracies. That is the point I want to go to. Like you want an information, for instance, there is a communication officer, or you want to interview them. You want to interview the minister directly, or have information from the minister directly. They will tell you maybe the PAM secretary or maybe the public relation officer there. Those bureaucracies, does the bill remove all those things? Like you have to write a letter to the permanent secretary before you could actually get information from the ministry and all that?
Not actually. The unnecessary bureaucracies will be scrapped out, because you know that the government.
This bill is good too.
Yeah, it's very good. It's not even only even a citizen can say, hey, I want to know an information very important related to petrol, on petroleum, or how much government is spending on the extractive industry, or how much is government getting from fishing, how much government is getting from sand mining. Those are public information. And even public-private information. Like, for instance, if government contracts, like iAfrica is a private institution, but if government use public fund to contract iAfrica, then that information is public. obviously the transactions, the agreements,
should be made public.
It should be made public. So this is definitely, the onus lies on the media to sensitize people on the bill, the importance of the bill, what are some of the importance, how
so that
they
it
can
will not be seen
utilize.
as a media bill. The bill
No,
is
it's
just
not
for
a media bill.
journalists.
It's not a media
So
bill.
that is why the sensitization is very important.
That is why it is called access to information bill. It's called access to information
Anyone
bill.
can access information.
Exactly, public information.
Anyone.
Exactly. So I think, and it will also help enhance democracy. It will enhance democracy. It will help government to be more organized. More organized in the sense that the records that they are keeping, because you will not be saying, we don't have information, we don't have this information. You obviously will organize yourself. Even the National Assembly can use this bill. They can use the law, because it's a legal framework for everyone to ensure that they have anything they need
to conquer fake news.
Exactly.
Which is now, social media now is the new media.
Exactly. So
which can just give any news and then people believe it.
So yeah, so this is the important aspect of it, and then there will be initially what they thought of, commission will incur monies or whatever, and then they wanted it to be put under the Human Rights Commission, hence it is part of human rights. But later, the final bill, we are going to obviously have a commission to ensure that this bill.
But how soon are we going to have that commission?
Yes.
And this bill is important to people.
It's going to be soon. It cannot be automatic.
Yeah.
It cannot be. It is a progressive law that cannot be just automatic. So certain things, bureaucracy will be like scouting out the commissioners, following the rules, making sure that it is just like the Human Rights Commission. It was established before it settled and start its work, so it takes time a bit. So, but we're hoping that the political will be there, and then ensuring that they will not flout the laws. They will ensure that whatever is in the bill is implemented to the latter.
So what is there in the bill that is a disadvantage maybe? Or there is, because whatever in this world there are advantages and disadvantages. But this bill, like all the good things that is, do you think there is even a disadvantage in this bill?
No, not actually.
Maybe
I don't think there is a disadvantage. This bill is promoting open governance.
Democracy.
And then if you look at this constitution, it states sovereignty lies in the hands of the people from whom all organs of government derives their authority. So now if people give people power to exercise that power on their behalf, people should know. It's just like if you employ your Mindan and then you want to know what the Mindan is doing, the house help is doing. If he is cooking good food, if he is going to the market rightly, if you're giving him or her the money to do things for you, you will obviously want to know whether your money values what he or she is doing. Yeah. So I think it's important. Open governance, this is why we need open, progressive governance, government who is accountable, or a government which is accountable to the people, a government which has nothing to hide, because we cannot say we are a democratic dispensation, and then people are not accessing information. That's obviously, an irony. If you say, yeah, we are a democratic government, we've seen other countries, even at local level, they will publish all their financial statement online. Governments are doing it.
And it should, because the National Assembly, during their scrutinization of the financial records and activity reports and financial statement of institutions, it's very difficult. And oftentimes, this institution will not be compliant, according to what we see at the National Assembly. Yeah. So, but all these things will even help the institutions to, because now they know that anytime anyone can just come and knock on their door to requiring for a particular information. I think they will. It will make them to up their game and then.
Yeah, I think we also have to thank the National Assembly. It's their job, but we have to thank them and then the former minister Batambedu and the current Attorney General, Mr. Jallo, they all did great, and the government as a whole, and the civil society as well as the GPU, definitely, because the bill went through a painstaking process. 2019, the bill, before even coming into parliament, could you imagine? There are a lot of trainings that have been done, like the training of trainers, going around the country, popularizing the bill. And then from there, the bill was validated. There are certain things that were improved upon. Then the bill was taken to the government. Government gazetted the bill, and then went through the process and then took it to the National Assembly. They also did some adjustment, took it to the National Assembly. The National Assembly tabled it for second to the committee stage. The committee also brought
Rigorous
it.
process.
Committee also brought it, and then it came, failed, came. It's not like failed, but we're supposed to table, scrutinize, and then the bill was later scrutinized by the committee of the whole house, where they went through the clause by clause, and then later to the third reading, and now the enactment. So you can see this consultation is vigorous and is very democratic. It went through, it exhausted all the processes. It's not like a rubber stamp bill. So obviously, of course. So it's, and also, could you imagine when the bill came, everyone in the National Assembly, despite their political diversity, you've never seen people using their political lens like the other bill, because the National Assembly used their political lens.
I think that should be encouraged, MS.
Yes.
Like when it comes to national issues, people should treat issues with a sense of nationalism rather than politicizing what everything.
Exactly. Sometimes the National Assembly will, but in this case, could you imagine? The bill was so important, even people who are in the same party, from the same party, will have different opinion on the bill with regards to the clauses.
That is democracy.
That's democracy. So the bill, I think, is one of the bills that you can say has passed through the test of time. It's also going to pass through the test of time. It's also something that has been embraced by everyone, despite our political differences.
People's bill.
Yes, this is the people's bill. So, but the media should definitely utilize it. They should engage the public so that the public can know the importance of this bill, and then let them use this bill to hold their leaders accountable, to be aware, even not only holding your leaders accountable. This will help even people to know their various facilities, what are the importance, also those facilities, how much they are getting from the people.
Yeah, and I think this is the time, MS, where even media houses can attach reporters to various ministries so that you can dig in the informations that are happening in various ministries so that people can get to know.
Very well. Very well. And also, the commissioners, despite their absolute power, they also are answerable to the National Assembly. So they will also come, and then there will be a check at the National Assembly whether they are serving the purpose, whether they are serving their purpose. And their term, they have a term limit. You cannot serve a term twice. Probably it could be renewable, and then there, doesn't dead. You're gone. Other people are there. People with integrity. People with a very good track record to ensure that you are not polarized. Yeah. So this bill is very important. Bill bi dafa am solo.
Torop si tënka rek si wolof nañ ko wolofaale. dafa important ne like loo wax si English yëpp. It's very good ne just quickly a recap of everything that really happened in the bill and the importance of the bill si wolof rek si tënka rek.
Waaw bi mooy li nga xamante ne la dañ ko xaatim pour ñu def ko loi. So loi bi nag ci ñeneenti at wala juróomi at ci gannaaw lañ ko isi. waaye da nga gis ne National Assembly bi mooy suñ député yi léegi nangutoo nañ ko xam nga député yaa dee defar loi. So nangu nañ ko bill bi nag léegi bu fekkee ne isi nañ ko bu fekkee ne léegi lu des rek président bi signé ko moom fanweeri fan la am pour signer bill bii ni pour mu nekk loi bill bi nag lu tax mu am solo mooy askan wi dinañ mun a am li nga xamante ne mooy information mooy xibaar bi nga xamante ne moom lañ soxla pour xam ci nguur gi ndaxte xam nañ ne nguur suñ kàddu lañ war a wéyee suñ xaalis suñ alal mooy naamo yu ñoo fay ak lu ñoo leb pour ñun suñ tur ak mboolem li nga xamante ne xaalis la ci non tax revenue wala ci ay mboolem jumtuwaay wala yeneen affaire yi nga xamante ne ñu ngi ci réew mi ñu ngi koo jëfoo ci nit ñi soo am na solo pour ñu bàyyi ci xel ndaxte nit ñi léegi dinañ mën a sukkandikoo ci lii pour mën a am ay xibaar mun ngaa dem nga laajte bugga naa xam COVID-19 coronavirus xaalis bi ñaata la te duñ hesitate pour jox la information boobu noonu so da ngaa gis ne dafa dëgëral suñ démocratie dafa dooleel askan wi pour ñu mun a xam nguur gi naka la ñoo doxalee suñ koom-koom naka la ñoo doxalee bunta yi nga xamante ne ñu ngi liggéey ci nguur naka lañ nekk di njëriñee askan wi ndaxte askan wi dañ ko war a am suñu waree démocratie faaw nit ñi xam naka la nguur gi di doxalee askan wi ñoom seen ëllëg bi ndaxte axala ak seen yelleef so bil bi loolu la ñoo dooleel so du journaliste lii du bili journaliste lii bili Gambia la bili askan wi la
loolu am na solo torop MS si leeral boobu noonu am na solo torop suñ mbokki wolof yi tamit ñu mun a xam lan moo nekk di xew fii si loolu rek ñu xuus rek wax si leneen MS voter registration bi gis nañ ne 5th week of the voter registration process bi MS nag it's very important to know ne dafa part of the civil society coalition on elections so moom tamit dafa part of it he plays a very important role not just the journalism cap but that cap too which is very important so ñu wax si loolu noonu fu mu nekk nii this is the 5th week of the voter registration process te gis nañ ne more than 700,000 Gambians then you register in this and majority of them are women congratulations to us
wow
in Wolof right? Wow in Wolof now
okay wow voter registration bi am na solo comme saytoon na constitution bi mooy kàddu nit ñi ak doole nit ñi ci nit ñi la sosoo kàddu nguur gi ak doole nguur gi ci nit ñi la sosoo nga amaat lu ñoo section 26 mu ngi la jox political right mooy booleem doomi réew war ngaa mun a bindu nga vote wala ñu votal la am nga loolu àqala ci yow léegi doole boobu naka nga ko doxale xam nga doo mun a dem ci biti rek nga ne waa man dama am doole man dama bugg a sanse nguur xam nga loolu is not legitimate loolu nekkut luwa so luwa bi la ban doole lam la jox mooy nga dem nga register te Gambia luñ am mooy periodic registration yeneen réew yi luñ dee am mooy civil registration soo amee sa birth certificate soo amee sa ID card soo amee sa passport mun ngaa vote waaye Gambia toolaguñ foofu noonu léegi luñ dee def mooy periodic registration te dafa am àpp suñ last registration bi 2011 lañ ko def mooy fukki at ci gannaaw waaye defoon nañ supplementary in 2016 te loolu is just supplementary for few days léegi am nañ chance tamit pour dem jëli suñ voters card yi waaye jigéen ñi moom ñoom ñoo dee saf si politique loolu du tey sax because even last registration bi téeméeri xaaj bi juróomi fukka ak ñeneenteeli xaaj bi yëpp jigéen la mooy 54% doo loolu du dee commensurate ci li nga xamante ne mooy leadership position yi waaye jigéen yi soo demee xumbeel bi political parties yi suñ ku sampa political party nañ dem si yaay compagnie ndaxte xam nañ ne jigéen yi ñoo dee saf si politique jigéen su safut si politique kan mooy saf si politique so they use them for mass mobilization waaye jigéen yi dañ fulal li nga xamante ne mooy karta yi ñoo gën a fulal karta yi ndaxte tamit ñoo gën a bari si population bi so da nga gis ne mu ngi feeñ ci li nga xamante ne mooy karta yi so comme wax nga 720,000 bi almost 500,000 yëpp jigéen lañ just yu niiw mooy 200 and something thousand ñooy ay góor waaye ndaw yi nekkuñ di génn loolu mooy problème bi ndaw yi te ndaw yi ñoo ëppa si population bi 64% of the population ñu ndaw lañ so waaye problème bi mooy da nga gis ne ndaw yi there are a lot of factors for instance political awareness amuñ ko da nga gis ne suñ education system bi si boppa dañ ko war a seetaat ñu segg ko ñu xool li nga xamante ne mooy civic awareness comme for instance kuy dem primary school léegi nii su fekkee ne suñ education system bi mu ngi dox numéro soo ko laajee lan mooy constitution bi dina la wax ne mooy suñ luwaa bi nga xamante ne mooy gën a mag muy doxal réew ak suñ doole suñ kàddu yëpp foofu la nekk
sax du mun a xam even one section of the constitution
exactly so foofu la moo dooree catch them before they grow so suñ education bi da nga gis ne moo tax ndaw yi duñ understand mag yi yàgga nañ fi def nañ politique jongante nañ xam nañ so secondly tamit ndaw yi ñoo dee dugga si tolof yu bari soo xoolee baaku yi ndaw lañ ñun dee jiiñ sàcca ndaw lañ ñun dee téye ndaw lañ ñun dee ñu problème yi réew mi ak yooyu noonu waaye condition moo tax ñuy def loolu because one maybe amuñ système bi joxut leen liggéey wala créétalu leen environment boo xam ne dañoo am liggéey wala soo amee liggéey sax doo mun a njëriñ sa boppa you'll be underemployed.
Thank you.
dañ laa exploit
underemployment bi
so da nga gis ne ndaw yi dañoo foog ne système bi daf leen beddi comme daf leen lii so mer boobu moo dee tax ba ñu ne politique pour mag yi la te politiciens yi yëpp duñ dee wax dëgg soo da nga gis ne loolu daf day nekk si ñoom grievance yi
but sometimes sax da ngaa dégg gars yi di wax ne MS loo xam ne daal man su ma ko déggee rek suma fit bi daf dee lii comme suma appetite bi dama ko dee lose ñu ne la ne what is the importance of ma partake si politics boo xam ne at the end of the day nguur bi su ko toogee du ma njëriñ dara
du ma njëriñ loolu ndaw wax bi correctut ndaxte mbooleem noo nekk di dundee sax nguur moo nekk di decide ndaxte for instance nit ñi soo vote nit ñi dinañ vote soo voté nit ñi dinañ vote nit ñi nga xamante ne vote nañ nag ñu bari si ñoom suñ tànnee nguur boo xamante ne nguur bi naka sudul noonu la ndaxte nguur bi mooy wax yow ban façon ngi lopitaan ngay am nguur gi mooy wax yow yan façon ngi tali ngay am nguur gi mooy wax sax yow sa dundin mooy lekka ak looy naan ak courant ban façon ngay dundee ndax di nga dunda life boo xamante ne dina nekk dignified life dina nekk life boo xamante ne di nga am njëriñ yow sa boppa ak sa askan ak sa askani askan nguur gi ñoo dee decide loolu politicians yi ñoo dee ndaxte ñoo dee amee koom-koomi réew mi te vote nga votuloo di nga fay tax ndaxte soo jëndee minti yaa ngay fay tax soo jëndee sukur yaa ngay fay tax ndaxte luñ dee def mooy soo gisee minti bi nekk dalasi mais bi sax kële 5 butut la ko jëndee mooy businessman bi fu mu ko jëndee waaye because of tax buñ fa dee def kii businessman bi dina yokka tax bi ba pare dina si yokka profitam bi pour moom tam mu am so da ngaa gis ne yow yaa ngee fay soo utee voters card birth certificate yaa ngee fay tax ndaxte da ngaa fay xaalis soo utee ID card passport ndaxte dinañ fa def tax sooy yëngu ci dara so da ngaa gis ne either vote nga votuloo yaa ngee jox nguur xaalis te xaalis boobu lañ dee jël di fay nguur président bi moom la ñoo jël ñu decide ban yan yoon la ñoo li soo votu tamit yaa ngee gën a sona sa boppa soo faw nga jël sa carte foog nga ne moo gën yow tam nga xalaat si ñii ñu taxaw nii ndaxte marchandise la ñoo jaay mooy seen manifesto yi mooy seen marchandise kan mooy mun a saafaral kan moo maa mun a saafaral suma problème kan moo maa mun a saafaral suma problème ñu ne la ne nga ne ok kii la nga déglu ko den foog naa time bi jeex na nga déglu ko so waaw waaye balaa loolu vote concert bi waaw bëgg naa ñu wax ci
am na solo
waaw
lan la miin
wow.
A way of calling on people to be registering more.
Rock the vote concert bi mooy ticket bi. So luñ def mooy. def nañ ay stratégie yu bari dem nañ ci télé dem nañ ci rajo yi ak yooyu noonu. pour waxtaana askan wi dem nañ sax def nañ too man dem naa base dem naa place yi. pour waxtaana askan wi. pour ñu mun a dem ñu vote ba pare ñu wax leen team movement si naka la ñoo demee. waaye ñu gis ne ndaw yi nekkuñ di génn so lan la ñoo def pour mun a isi ndaw yi moo tax luñ def mooy ñu ne ndaw yi bugga nañ football bugga nañ concert comme right now soo waxee attaque attaque xam nga dafa saf si jamono soo waxee ST the same thing Jizzle ñoom Barham soo noonu lañ def pour mun a attract ndaw yi soo léegi ñu ne rock the vote concert soo dañ ko def mu lifin dan da ngaa gis ne ëllëg lañ koo am ñu bari ñu ngi dem jëli seen voters card yi because loolu moo laa jot ticket
man sa war naa dinaa jëli suma bos tey
waaw soo ko jëliwu doo am ticket ne so voters ñu bari fii sax jox naa leen ñu ngi amee ticket bi because ñu ngi amee voters card so da ngaa gis ne loolu pour ndaw yi ñëw da ngaa gis ne ñu bari buñ déggee announcement bi hey rock the vote xaaral ñu dem vote jëli suñ voters card pour rek ñu mun a am voters card so ëllëg la at the Serekunda West Park si la ñoo def suñ lii bi ñoom attaque nañ fa nekka Serekunda West Stadium ku ñëw ci ngoon soo amee ticket bi rek ñu jox ñu bàyyi la nga dugg waaw around 6-7 yooyu noonu ba waaw ba yàlla
try leen it's not still late mun nga am voters card
of course amal voters card du la di jël 10 minutes go and get your voters card and get a ticket you go and enjoy yourself
yourself and then come December 4th make your choice
you just vote loolu amal voters card bi rek mu gën a am njëriñ first keep the voters card and then suñ jongante bi su jotee ñu taxaw nga déglu leen ku nekk xam nga soo demee si marché suñ la jaayee daala foog nga xool daala bi ndax baax na foog nga check daala bi baax na so noonu lañ war a checkee politicians yi ku ñëw mu ne la lii ak lii ak lii ñu engage leen sax fan ngeen a jënee xaalis bi fan ngeen a lii issue of unemployment fan naka la ngeen a adressé yoon yu bon yi naka ngeen a adressé the issue of health you engage politicians ku la laaj sa carte wax ko ok lan ngay njëriñ askan wi si lii ak lii ba pare naka ngay jëlee xaalis bi so loolu it's very important
fan naa loolu sax dañ ko war a pour di introduce nit su la waxee ne dinaa la def lii naka nga koo defee ak fan ngay jëlee koom-koom bi am na solo waaye dañ la war dama laa defal lii te doo question naka lam koo amee loolu moo taxit na often times dañ dee am leaders whereas dañ dee ñëw rek promise rek at the end of the day duñu fulfillal suñ promises because promise rek la ñoo def dinaa la defal yi kuy campagne daal dafa wax lu nekk with that Mohamed MS Ba time bi daal jàmm nañu we would have loved to talk on these issues more and then bring awareness creation on the voter registration, that access to information bill, but then unfortunately time bi jàmm nañu. Thank you so much for coming. And lastly rek jox ñu sa last card.
Waaw rock the vote concert dem leen ngeen jëli seen voters card yi ba pare soo leen ko amee ngeen keep ko ngeen denca ko and you know
secure ko
because so amee voters card tamit muy bu réer bala voting bi tamit is another thing. So let's keep it real.
Mohamed MS Ba, Vice President of the Gambia Press Union, the Chief Sub-Editor of the Foroya newspaper, and of course human rights defender. Thank you so very much for honoring our invitation and coming on the Good Morning Africa program. Thank you. That was Mohamed MS Ba, Vice President of the Gambia Press Union, and we were talking about the access to information bill and of course the voting registration process which is ongoing. And tomorrow is the Rock Your Vote concert which is happening at the Mini Stadium, Serekunda Mini Stadium. The time is 6 p.m. Make it a date and go there. Till we come your way tomorrow, Monday. I am so excited. Oh my God. But anyway, we will have to take a break and come back Monday for another interesting edition of the Good Morning Africa program. Bye-bye and do have a nice day. Juma.
The pride we take in our brand,